You're looking at about a year of me not being able to say no to orange equipment that finds me one way or another. In the previous video, I changed out fuel lines and tuned up this Husqvarna 350 BT backpack blower. In this video, I'll be working on this Echo SRM-225 trimmer that came from a neighbor I did some work for. And like the blower, this trimmer is considered heavy-duty residential or entry-level commercial, whereas at the lighter end of the spectrum, on a previous video, I dove into some of these Husqvarna 125B handheld blowers. One of them in particular I had to go very deep into, take the bottom of the engine off, pull out the piston and crankshaft and spec seals, reassembly, as well as getting into the fuel and ignition system. So if you've got a 125B Husqvarna handheld or similar and you're trying to get it up and running or just interested in how they work, definitely give that video a look. I'll link it here. On this little Echo SRM-225 weed whacker, I see a couple things. First, it's just filthy. There's dirt everywhere. Plus down here, this grommet where the carb hoses meet the tank. We see it's very cracked. There's pieces of it about to fall off. And then lastly, the lines themselves are like totally stiff. In fact, I just broke that one. So there's no chance for this guy to run as is. So I'm gonna get a new one of these here grommets, and I'm gonna get some more fuel line, and I'm going to spray this thing down really well, get it cleaned up before I even really try to go into it. Well, I took the top off and did some significant cleaning on this thing. It definitely looked like fuel was leaking somewhere because this whole bottom part was coated with that kind of dirt slash oil. So I'm guessing there's something else going on, but let's just see if it makes any spark. We can do that with it as is. Let's give it a few pulls. Yeah, so we're getting some light, so I don't suspect anything wrong with the ignition. The main issue I'm seeing is with this grommet where the fuel lines go into the tank. It's very cracked and looks like it's about to fall apart. So I've got a new grommet with some new lines. It's actually a whole assembly for this particular trimmer. I've got that on the way. Before that, what I can do is squirt a little bit of starting fluid in there. Okay, that's good news. So, engine's capable of running. Is it capable of pulling fuel through this grommet? Probably not. Is the carburetor, capable of metering that fuel? Also unknown. This machine was so filthy that I'm just going to assume that the carb is all gummed up too. So we'll go ahead and take it off or see if there's anything obvious inside. Probably should have ordered a gasket kit as well. But fortunately, that one looks like it's okay. And we've got a Zama carb K93. So that's the carb we're dealing with. And I will disconnect the throttle cable to make that a little bit easier to work on. Let's get this thing open. It's got that smell of old rotten fuel to it. So those are going to be our little flaps that work as check valves. So that comes off. Yeah, that's just the telltale of dirty old fuel. Kind of yellow, goldenish color. And I'll bet those check valves are cruddy. So we'll clean that out really well. It looks like our diaphragm here is in good shape, so that's good news. Still springy and soft. So there's the pieces of the needle assembly. That's gross and probably not flowing the way it needs to. I will go about cleaning this thing as best as I can. Not going to film all that. It's not that interesting. And there's lots of videos on it. And there's not much to explain other than hit every passage that you can with solvent. Be careful about inserting wires or brushes into the holes because they might be check valves and you don't want to puncture that. All right, my fuel pickup kit came in and it's got a air filter, which was also pretty necessary. The one that was on there was disgusting. Spark plug, a couple of these fuel priming bulbs, so we'll replace that. The main thing is this fuel pickup assembly. So it's got a good grommet, which is the main thing, and I don't have to make my own lines here. The fuel pickup goes to this black line and then return on this clear / yellow line. And then this one's got a vent as well, which the Husqvarnas I've worked on don't have that. So I've got the carb all cleaned up. I'm ready to go. Let's reinstall all of this. Fresh fuel filter, so it's gonna take some time for that to get soaked full of fuel. And of course we need to pull it through the carb as well. So let's do that now. Hey, fuel's moving. So it sucks it up, and then when I push it again, that's what pushes it through the carb. The release sucks up more fuel from the tank. Yeah, all right, let's see, we're choked. I don't expect it to kick off immediately. We are on run. On this model, you know, your choke doesn't give it any throttle, so could be a simple matter of the throttle being too low, but I'm just gonna keep on pulling on it. I may have to clear it now and then if it gets flooded. All right, we're getting some fuel out of the intake. Let's clear it. I'm just gonna pull the throttle all the way, and that should reduce vacuum or eliminate any vacuum. So choke's open. This should clear any of the fuel that's in the cylinder. There we go. So it needed to be cleared. Let's clear some more. I had to take the trimmer back apart and completely disassemble the carburetor. The reason is that it would start and idle really nicely, but then I would give it full throttle, it would come up to high RPM like you expect, and then start to bog down. And I went through this many times until I finally figured out that if I shut it down, gave the primer a number of pulses, that would refill the carburetor with fuel as well as the fuel lines, then I could start it back up, and the process would repeat. It was very repeatable. I could not sustain high RPM. So that suggested a fuel supply issue. It told me that the carburetor was metering things correctly, but it was just being starved of fuel. So in an attempt to figure out what was causing it, I took everything apart, expecting to find a little piece of dirt, something like that, and I couldn't find anything. Fortunately, I found a really good video on how this thing works, and I will link to it here. So this is the primer base assembly, or the primer body, and it houses a pair of check valves, one for the inlet, one for the outlet. You can see that I've already removed one of them and the other one's still there. That's that stainless steel shiny thing. And what they do is only allow fuel to travel in one direction. It's the job of this block to route that fuel to the correct side of the check valve so that it can do its thing. When they all work together, the primer bulb goes on here. When you press down, you're going to be able to push fuel or air that may be in that bulb out through the outlet check valve back into the tank, while the inlet check valve is closed by that same pressure. Then when you let it spring back up, that's going to pull fuel in from the tank through the inlet check valve while the outlet check valve is closed, and that turns this pushing and pumping motion into actual flow of fuel through the carb. The problem is these are kind of fragile. You can damage them if you poke something through them, or even if you just spray solvent with too much pressure right into them, and I may have done one or both of those things. So I'll show you how to actually remove these, but first I'll show you what's inside from the one that I removed already. So first there's a spring that's down there at the bottom. It's covered by this little rubber flap, and finally it's all retained by this stainless steel sort of cover that goes in there. And so when there's pressure on the top through this direction, you can see from this side, you can see the rubber there in the center. When you put pressure this way, the spring retracts and fuel can flow. But if there's pressure from the other direction, well, that flap stays up against the stainless steel cover and fuel cannot flow. I'll show you how to test this really easily. You're gonna need some fuel line, and I'm also using Simple Green, a non-toxic degreaser. The reason is I may come into contact with it. I need to spray some of this degreaser down into the port that's connected to the check valve, as well as to the check valve itself. Get it kind of worked in there. And now, hopefully you've got a clean piece of fuel line, because you're gonna put one end in your mouth and the other one hold down tight on the check valve. And we're gonna check flow in the direction that it should flow, which is from this side. So I'm just gonna put this over and hold it down and then blow into it and look for bubbles on that attached port. So that shows me that flow is allowed out through the check valve in the direction it's supposed to go. Now let's see if it will go in reverse. Here's where we should not see bubbles if it's functioning correctly. And there we see there are bubbles coming out of there. So this check valve is bad. and the other one was bad as well. Now, being disassembled, there's no direct path from the intake port to its check valve, which would be here. That's because it's missing some gaskets that are not in place. But you can still use the same method to test it. Just put your simple green into this hole right here, which is on the other side of the check valve, and then you can blow through from both sides using the hose method just like before. So here's a carb needle kit. This has lots of different sizes for clearing orifices. This is the thing you have to be really careful about pushing into these holes because it can actually puncture that rubber seal, but it's also a perfect tool if you use it correctly for pulling these out. So I've got one that fits this stainless steel cover very precisely. I'm going to stick it in just a little ways and then carefully pry sideways and it'll pop this out. There's the cover. Turn it over. There's the spring and that rubber flap. So this is going to be very difficult with my big fingers and my poor zoom to show you what's going on, but the flap actually has damage in the center that you'll only see when you actually fold it over. Now you can buy just this part individually, and I'll put the part number down below, but it's not really economical to do so, especially once you consider shipping. The price ends up being higher than what you could get a whole new carb, or at least a whole new reproduction import carb. So that's what I've ordered, but I'm only intending to use the primer base plate off of it. So most of my parts will be from the original Zama with just a aftermarket base plate, and we'll see how that works. Okay, new carb arrived and it looks like it's pretty decent quality. It would probably run just fine, but I want to keep as many of the original Zama parts as I can. So I've already started disassembling this and I just want to use this new primer base block to replace the one that has the bad check valves in it. And I've also got the benefit of new seals, gaskets on the base, as well as the gaskets for either side of the carb body. So I'll go ahead and use those as well. I reinstalled the carb with that new primer base plate. Does it pump fuel? Easily and quickly. Okay. And we'll flip choke on, we'll flip it onto the run position. Here we go. So it coughed, let's turn the choke off. I'll completely put it back together, including the air filter and the covers on the machine. We'll take it outside and actually give it a full heavy run at full throttle under load. That's going to be the true test of whether we're successful here. Well, I think I missed one. This is an area I usually don't trim, or I use my walk behind trimmer. I have to kind of lower it down. It's pretty awkward being on the hill here. This is nice. It's got plenty of power. We've got some deer crossing. I guess I'll let them have the right of way for a little bit here and take a break. So if you're working on something similar, be sure to check your check valves. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. If you've got questions, throw them in the comments. Be sure to check the links for other repairs on orange equipment that finds its way to me. In the meantime, thanks a lot for watching.